So here's the 600M. I'll just run you through 3 tips for cold press juicing. So the first is that we want to feed things in slowly. So it's a little bit different to using a centrifugal juicer where you're just putting things in and consistently pressing it down. We actually want to feed it through kind of naturally under its own weight. So say if you put a few pieces of carrot in, we then want to let that process pass out before we put the next carrot in. So if you think of it similarly to how you chew and how you swallow food, if you just keep putting food in your mouth, it'll become harder and harder to chew. The same thing with the juicer. You just want to put a little bit in, let it swallow it, spit it out, and then put more in. So the next tip is when we're using the tamper, it's perfectly fine to use, but we never want to jam down. We never want to force things in. We just want to use it and just put a tiny bit of force down, let the juicer, let the auger pull it in naturally and then push it out. If we have to push it down excessively to get it to pass through, we actually probably want to stop, undo the lid and just make sure that there's nothing wrong inside. So make sure that there's nothing blocked, and if there is, clear the blockage and then keep juicing. So the third tip is the order of the ingredients can be important. Depending on the recipe, it may not be applicable. If you've got something difficult to juice like kale or ginger, firstly make sure they're fresh. That's very, very important. But a stringy fibrous produce like celery or kale is a little bit difficult, so we want to put it in short pieces, and then we want to follow it with something, say like apple, that's a little bit more pulpy and has a bit more substance to it, and then something hard like carrot or beetroot. Again, if the recipe lets us, but that's the ideal way to do it. Put a little bit of celery in, a little bit of apple in, a little bit of carrot in, and then rinse and repeat. So once it's all passed through, we want to then do it again, and that just helps pass all the stringy fibers out before more go in. If you just pile half a kilo of celery in and the celery is not fresh and it's not in small pieces, there is a chance that it'll get stuck, and the best way to avoid that is to do the cycle method.